I'm Taylor Phillips, and he's Louis Tenor, and this is episode 31 of True Sports. First off, we got to show our concern and support for Buffalo Bills. I think Damar Hamlin, who collapsed. Um, right now, he's in 50% oxygen or something like that. But he's the game was that's why the Bills Bengals game was postponed at a 7-3 score. The Bengals were leading the Buffalo Bills. It's like the first quarter or something like that. So um, hopefully Damar Hamlin gets better.
Yeah, very devastating to see that last night. I was in between games. I was tuning into the Rutgers Purdue game on the net, and I had the Bills Bengals game up on the side. I had the sound down, and then when the Rutgers game was over, they were in the studio discussing this, like, what happened here. There were like something that I don't know about, and then when the showed what happened, it was like completely devastated. I have never seen anything like this before in all the years I've been watching football. Not even breathing, motionless. The players both are all on the field by his side and didn't know what was going to happen next. I mean, that was very frightening to see. You know, broadcasting on national television as well. I mean, that was just a complete shock to anybody who was at the game or even watching the game.
Yeah, just
Ugh.
no argument there. Just just very devastating. Of course, can't describe it any other way.
Ugh.
Um, so
Yes.
yeah, that's about it. Thoughts and prayers to
No.
him and his family and his fans and his
Yeah, absolutely.
friends. So the college football playoff, Michigan fell behind 21-3, and they lost to TCU, and now some Michigan fans and media are blaming the refs for that loss. No, just this is what Michigan hometown media is like every fucking
Yeah.
year. It's so um, cancerous and deflect. You just blame everyone else but yourself. That's Michigan
Mm.
though, unfortunately. So, but
I
that's why I have my Michigan
thought New
Sports
York was
Truth
bad enough.
podcast and this. Well, that's why I have the Michigan Sports Truth podcast and this. So, what was that, Lewis?
I thought the New York media was bad because the New York media and the New York fans will harp on them if they have a game like that. I mean, New York fans can be pretty rowdy and nasty when something goes wrong because they'll blame anybody. They'll blame the coaches. They'll blame the referees or whatnot. They'll blame just about anybody. So New York, I think, may run a close second to Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit is even more sensitive.
Yeah,
Even a
I
little more
guess
sensitive.
so. Hmm.
Yeah, but but that's why I'm gonna I'm gonna give the deflectors and defenders hell because because they because karma's a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And it's not the referee's fault.
No, of
Roman
course not.
Wilson Roman Wilson's knee may have been down. I mean, it looked like a touch. I mean, it kind of looked like a touchdown or close to it, but you can't fumble at the one on the next play.
No.
Try a quarterback sneak, JJ McCarthy, you dolt. and and then yeah, targeting was missed, admittedly, but that's not with 25 seconds left in the fourth quarter. But you know what? That's not their fault. Michigan fell behind 21-3. They were not fucking ready for that game. They weren't. They really weren't. They just were not ready for that game. And a couple of Michigan fans on here reacted to my one post, which I therefore had to delete. And then one of them told me to delete my podcast. Well, well, well. All I can say is fuck them. You know,
Yes.
simple. I'm not deleting my podcast. It's not going away. It's never gonna go away. Okay. You get. That's the way they deflect. They just retaliate to what I'm saying, which is based on truth. Bunch of assholes down there in Ann Arbor.
Yes.
And bunch of total assholes. That's it. And then Georgia came back and barely beat Ohio State. Ruggles missed the what would have been a game-winning field goal, like wide well left. Yeah, but that was a much better game. Yeah, but Michigan made too many mistakes. Harbaugh even admitted that he made a mistake on his play call on 4th and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, he admitted it. He wasn't blaming the refs much. He blamed himself. Glad he was finally holding himself accountable again.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. So TCU in Georgia, who you got?
I'm going to go with Georgia. And I'll say one thing. I was not surprised by either result of the games because I knew that this was going to be a tough games for all four teams. I was not expecting a blowout by any means. I knew Ohio State was going to be able to hang in there against Georgia. I was not expecting a blowout at all. And Michigan, TCU, a lot of people doubted TCU's ability, and they thought that was going to be, Michigan would have an easy time. I didn't think so. TCU has played tough all year, and I thought they were really going to hold a candle to Michigan, and they did. So, all my colleagues disagree with me, thinking, TCU doesn't have a prayer. You got evidence to back that up? I've seen how TCU plays, and they held up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, they were not afraid. Michigan just got too cocky and too cute on that 4th and goal play on the first drive of the game, and the end result, they failed. That's what fucking pisses me off about Jim Harbaugh's fucking play calling on 4th down, 3 for 15 on third downs and 4th downs combined. This is fucking too lazy, arrogant, cocky, and stupid. That is Jim Harbaugh. I'm sick of it.
Yes.
But at least he admitted that he admitted one mistake at least. Hopefully he can learn from all of his mistakes by being by holding himself accountable for at least one mistake.
Takes a big man to do that, though.
Yeah, Harbaugh's usually not that guy, but to be honest, I did not expect that,
Hmm.
but he said he wished he would have. He said, "quote I wish I would have called a different play on fourth unquote on 4th and 2."
Hmm.
All right. So while the Bills and Bengals is still postponed, um, still no word on when it's going to be played.
Yeah.
Both, I mean, and both teams are in the AFC, but for the NFC, as we previewed week 18 of the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks are going to crush the Rams, while the Lions and Packers are
Oh yeah, yeah.
going to go at it. The Lions have a very slim chance of making the playoffs anyway. I know the
Hmm.
Lions are going to give the Packers fight, but I think the Packers are going to win anyway.
Hmm. Actually, I think I'm a little bit torn in that game. I mean, that seems like it'd be a dogfight of a game.
It is. I
I'm
said it
kind of
was going to
torn.
be a
I mean,
fight.
it's gonna go either way. Yeah, it's gonna go either way.
Yeah. Well, if the Packers win, they enter the playoffs. But if they lose
Yeah.
and the Seahawks win, the Seahawks are in the playoffs. But if both the Packers and
Hmm.
Seahawks lose and Lions win, Lions beat the Packers, the Lions are in the playoffs.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. The New York Giants are going to the playoffs too.
Yep.
So yeah, the Washington Commanders have been eliminated because the Packers won this past Sunday.
Mm.
Yeah, and like a rout at home over top the NFC North champion Minnesota Vikings. That's like the second rout that I've seen suffered by the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
I mean, you have the best record in the NFC North, and you get humiliated twice. First in Dallas and then in Green Bay. The Cowboys and Packers.
Didn't bring your A game, did you?
Yeah, they just can't. That's the NFC Nuke North for you. How are the Vikings?
Yeah.
How do the Vikings even have 12 wins, for God's sake?
Hmm. Could be worse though. You could be the NFC South. Now that division's pathetic. Ugh.
I well, I wouldn't go that far, but kind of close to as bad. Just to be
Yes.
fair.
Okay.
All right, so it's time for your true sports report. Lewis, take it away.
All right, and away we go. All right, it's a light night for the NBA as the Bucks are leading the Wizards 116 to 107 with just about a minute and a half to go. Also in the fourth, the Thunder are giving the Celtics a beatdown 142 to 110 with 3.5 to go. This game is over. And at the half right now, the Kings lead the Jazz 60 to 51. At least that's respectable. All right, so we'll check the standings here as we now enter the heart of the season, sort of. No, but one more thing: if you were a big East fan, uh, on second thought, hold off on that. Tomorrow's schedule goes like this: your 7 o'clock games are the Grizzlies taking on the Hornets, the Suns taking on the Cavaliers, the Thunder taking on the Magic, or in some cases the Tragic. The Pacers take on the Sixers. Spurs take on the Knicks at 7:30. Other 7:30 game is the Bucks taking on the Raptors. 8 o'clock games are the Nets taking on the Bulls, the Blazers taking on the Wolves, the Rockets taking on the Pelicans, and for the late night edition, the 10 o'clock games, your Pistons taking on the Warriors, the Heat taking on the Lakers, and the Hawks taking on the Kings. Now for the standings, they go like this. And it's getting pretty interesting now in this race because a few days ago the Knicks were losing 5 in a row. Now they've won 2 in a row, and I think they can work on making it 3 in a row. let that win tomorrow. I hope so. If you're watching the Seton Hall Creighton game, I got two words for you right now. No contest. This is the worst game I've seen them play since 2005 when they got slaughtered by Duke. Oof. I mean, guys, it's just that bad. I've been a long time Seton Hall fan, and my nephew now goes to Seton Hall, and they're watching the game, but it is absolutely horrible. Last check, Creighton, who I can't stand, is up 67-38 over Seton Hall. It is just that embarrassing. This is not a good night. But Rutgers last night beat the number one team in the country, Purdue, 65-64. That's the second straight year that Rutgers has beaten Purdue, which was a number one ranked team. So that says something. At least I think that says something when you can beat a number one team twice in a row, and they did this on their home court. So they can hang in there with the big schools like Purdue and Minnesota, Michigan, and all that. So Rutgers is not a team that you should be taking lightly. All right, so the standings in the NBA go like this: the Celtics, they're still in the lead at 26-11, but looky here, folks, the Nets are just a game behind at 25-12. I like it. Bucks 2.5 back at 23-13. Cavaliers 24-14, also 2.5 back. The Sixers are 22-14, 3.5 back. The Pacers 5.5 back at 21-17. The Heat 20-18, along with the Knicks 6.5 back, but still in the playoff hunt. Hawks 17-29 back, and the Wizards 17-21, 9.5 back. Sorry, Steve. On the outside looking in, the Bulls and Raptors are 16-21, 10 back. 13 back are the Magic at 13-24. The Hornets 10-28, 16.5 back. And I'm sorry for your Pistons, 10-30, 17.5 back. I wish I had better news, but I'm sorry. To the West, the Nuggets are 24-13, have a half game lead over the Grizzlies at 23-13. Pelicans 23-14, 1 game back. The Mavericks 22-16, 2.5 back. The Kings are in 5th place at 19-16, 4 back. And the Clippers are 4 back at 21-18. But the Kings have played a few more games. Blazers 19-17, 4.5 back. Suns 20-18, 4.5 back, as well as the Warriors. And the Jazz are 6 back at 19-20. It's decent. On the outside looking in, the Wolves are 17-21, 7.5 back. The Lakers 16-21, 8 back. The Thunder 15-21, 8.5 back. Spurs 12-25, 12 back. And the Rockets are still grounded at 10-27, 14 back. Yes, I said the Rockets have been grounded. I know. Just a shame how that team has fallen apart the last few years. They were once such a dominant team, and they have now just fallen by the wayside, which has been horrible. And the Rangers, yeah, they're still hot. They won 5-3 tonight. They were looking weak to begin the second period, but they have managed to climb back, and they're moving up. They're moving up now. But Boston Bruins are still up in front. Yuck. As most of you know, that I am not a Bruins fan whatsoever. While we wait for that to load up, I'll do some headlines for this. If my page will load up. But anyway, just a tragic day for that. With last night with the Bills and Bengals game. I mean, that is something that they play their hearts out. They as much as they want to go out and beat each other up, on the field, but when all said and done, it's a brotherhood, and they stick together and come together in times like that. So let's see. Before the Warriors faced the Hawks last night, there was a conversation with after he had an Achilles tear decades ago, and has made an inspiration to Klay Thompson. The Warriors guard has faced the same journey. Thompson has spent the early part of the season searching for the 2019 version of himself before he tore his ACL in Game 6 of the NBA Finals that year and suffered an Achilles tendon to start the 2021 season. Last night, he is 54 points and 21 for 39 shooting, including 10 for 21 from the three-point range. And that's as close as he has been. Yes. It was Thompson's fourth game with at least 50 points and seventh with at least 10 three-pointers. He made shot after shot and play after play. It was just incredible. That was said by Coach Steve Kerr. As Thompson navigated streaks of poor showing performances, the bottom line in the Warriors have emphasized not to force his game and play with the flow within the flow of the offense. Even teammate Draymond Green says, "You don't have to be the same Klay you were before. Once you understand and buy into that, then you become the Klay you were." It's hard to compare from season to season, though, when you think about it. For your Pistons, Marvin Bagley suffered a right hand injury and will miss an extended period of time. Source told ESPN. Bagley, who injured his right hand in last night's loss to the Blazers, is undergoing further evaluation to determine the next steps of the injury, according to sources. Bagley is averaging 10.6 points per game and 5.6 rebounds. Well, I wish I had better news for that as well. I'm sorry, I don't at this time. We all know that Paley has passed away, and today um, was the funeral for the soccer legend, and it was watched by about 200 million people on television, and thousands gathered for his passing. Just it's a sad moment for probably the greatest soccer player to have ever played the game. The crowds in Brazil get a farewell to the soccer legend. New President Luis Del Silva paid his respects at Villa Belmiro, where he spent most of his playing career before coming to the United States to play for the Cosmos. Pele is being buried in the city where he grew up and where he became famous, and helped pave the way for soccer to become the top sport in the world. Mass was being celebrated at the Villa Belmiro Stadium before his casket is ushered to the streets to a nearby cemetery. One fan waited 3 hours to view the body and laid in response. She came out with her father, who was wearing a Brazil shirt with Pele's name on it. And as I said, there are about 200 million people watching it on Brazilian television. Rest in peace, Pele. You were great. I saw him play in 1976, and I was young then. I mean, young. Hornets guard Kelly Arube will undergo surgery Thursday to repair a torn ligament in his left hand. The Hornets sent a statement today that updates on the procedure and rehab status will be provided when the appropriate time comes. It is not clear how long he will be out, but he did miss 3 of the last 4 games with the same injury. It is not clear how long he will be out. I mean, he's averaging 20 points per game, shooting 42% from the field and 30.8% from three-point range. To make it even worse, Gordon Hayward is likely out for tomorrow's games against the Lakers after injuring his hamstring against the Jazz last night. So, in other words, we got ourselves a double whammy, so to speak. All right. Moving on. Cavaliers' Donovan Mitchell adds his name to an impressive list last night. Mitchell scored a new franchise record of 71 points, the most points scored by a single player in 17 years, in overtime win against the Bulls. This was the most points scored since the late Kobe Bryant back in 2006. Wilt Chamberlain still has the record of 100 points set back in March of 1962. As the final seconds ticked off in OT, Mitchell waved his arm. The crowd that embraced him during his short time with the Cavaliers to make noise and soak in the applause. Mitchell scored 13 points in the extra session after forcing overtime by missing his own free throw and making a circus shot with 3 seconds left. Gutsy call. Mitchell became the 7th player to score at least 70 points in a single game, joining an exclusive group, joining Kobe Bryant, Wilt Chamberlain, David Robertson, David Thompson, Elgin Baylor, and Devin Booker. Chamberlain, though, did it 6 times. Michael Jordan never even did that. Wow. As I mentioned before, Rutgers, for the second straight year, pulls off an upset over Purdue. Cam Spencer's three-pointer with 13 seconds left gave Rutgers the lead, and top-ranked Purdue failed to convert on its final chances last night, leading the Scarlet Lions to pull up an upset against the number 1 ranked team in the country. Well, not anymore. Scrolling from my Jersey crowd. This time, Rutgers did it on Purdue's home floor. Make it even worse. Spencer finished with 14 points, while Paul McCahey finished with 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. We know it's coming, what Rutgers did tonight. It did not shock us, said Coach Matt Painter. If we're going to war, we would stop by New Jersey to pick them up. Oh, thank you very much. Kind of a comment is that. You want your players to be physically and mentally tough, said Painter, and then you clean up this slop fest. And they did. Well, and they didn't. Rutgers controlled the game for most of the night, taking a 10-point lead into the game. Time to score at 52. Then took the lead on a 3-point shot by Brian Newman. He answered back, scoring the next 10 points for Rutgers, giving the Knights a 5-point lead with 2 minutes to what resembled more of a heavyweight boxing match. And when Mulcahy missed a jumper, Eddie grabbed the rebound, and Purdue called a timeout. Wait, there's even more. Fletcher Lloyd of Purdue took the lead on a 3-point shot with under 30 seconds left, but Spencer made his three after another timeout and watched Newman miss a 3. Sounds more like a soap opera. And after Rutgers turned the ball over on inbound pass, Purdue could not get the ball to Eddie, or Edie as the case may be, for a final shot, and Rutgers pull off the upset. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a happy camper. The Bucks are the player that we know as the Greek Freak. Missed last night's loss to the Wizards with left knee soreness. Giannis was a late addition to the injury report after participating in the shoot-around yesterday. The Bucks are already without Drew Holiday with a non-COVID illness, and Chris Middleton with left knee soreness. The Greek Freak, though, is coming off a pair of historic games with at least 40 points, 20 rebounds, and 5 assists. So that's impressive right there. For you hockey fans out there, the Seattle Kraken will host the 2024 Winter Classic and will take on the Golden Knights. This will be the first outdoor game for the Kraken, who are now in their second season in the league and becoming quite the surprise. At least I think so.
Bye, Coach.
Thank you, Gavin. That was my nephew, by the way. Playing an outdoor game in Seattle had been in discussion for some time now. The long-standing belief was that the league was considering the T-Mobile Park, the home of the Mariners, and Lumen Field, home of the Seahawks. Pick your poison, the way I look at it. So while we're on the hockey right now, let's do the scores here.
I take either one.
Okay, flip a coin. No. All right. your hockey scores go like this. The Predators lead the Canadiens 6-2 with 5:45 to go in the third. At 5:26 to go in the third, the Jets lead the Flames 3-2. At the end of the second, the Lightning and Blackhawks are tied 1 apiece. 7:47 to go in the second. The Kraken and the Oilers are tied at 2. Midway through the first period, the Stars and Kings are scoreless at Zippo. Islanders and Canucks are scoreless, 8:30 in the first period. All the rest are finals as the Panthers beat the Coyotes 5-3. The Rangers over the Hurricanes 5-3. Thank you. Senators blank out the Blue Jays 4-0. This team was pathetic.
Jackets?
The Blue Jackets, yep. Blues over the Maple Leafs 6-5 in a shootout. The Sabres over the Capitals 5-4 in overtime. So the schedule tomorrow, and it's a light one, as it usually is on Wednesday nights, goes this way. And one of the games involves my New Jersey Devils, or I should say someone I know, New Jersey Devils. And it goes like this. They'll take on your Red Wings tomorrow at 7:00. Okay. The Lightning will take on the Wild, and the Stars will take on the Ducks. So now we'll go to the standings, and they go this way. Wow. Devils against the Red Wings. Okay. Yeah, the Devils start out good. Standings
the Devils
go
will
like
win
this.
one.
Okay, in the Atlantic Division, we start off. Okay, in the Atlantic, the Bruins are 29-4-4, 62 points, and have the top record in the Eastern Conference. The Leafs, 23-8-7, 53 points. The Lightning, 23-11-1, 47 points. Sabres, 19-15-2, 40 points. The Red Wings, 16-12-7, 39 points. The Senators, 18-17-3, 39 points. The Panthers, 17-18-4, 38 points. And the Canadiens, 15-9-3, 33 points. Wow. To the Metropolitan Division, that's me. The Hurricanes lead the division at 25-7-6, 56 points. Devils, 23-11-3, 49 points. Right behind them, the Blue Shirts, the Rangers, 21-12-6, 48 points, thanks to tonight's win. Capitals, 21-13-6, 48 points. Okay, it's going to be quite interesting. Penguins, 19-12-6, 44 points. Islanders, 44 points at 21-15-2. The Flyers, 14-17-7, 35 points. And the Blue Jackets, a lonely woeful 11-23-2 and 24 points. Oof. Wow. Yeah. Okay, now for the West. In the Central, the Stars are 23-9-6, 52 points. Ugh, this is pathetic. Jets, 47 points at 23-13-1. The Wild, 21-13-2, 44 points. The Avalanche, 19-14-3, 41 points. The Blues, 18-17-3, 39 points. Predators, 15-14-6, 36 points. The Coyotes, 13-18-5, 31 points. And if you think that the Blue Jackets are bad, the Blackhawks are even worse. You ready for this, guys? I'm not making this up now. Their record is a disastrous 8-24-4, 20 points. Wow. That is plain awful. Okay, to the Pacific. Golden Knights have the best record in the Western Conference at 54 points at 26-12-2. The Kings, 21-13-6, 45 points, 48 points. Flames, 43 points, 18-13-7. Kraken, 19-12-4, 42 points. Oilers, 42 points at 20-16-2. The Canucks, 16-17-3, 35 points. Sharks, 12-20-7, 31 points. And the Ducks, 10-24-4, 24 points. 20 points. How do you 20 points at this stage in the season? That is just weak.
Ugh.
Yeah.
20 freaking
That is good.
points.
That is a
Oh
good
my God.
Yeah. How do you explain that? And of course, Seton Hall is now just a lost cause in this game, as Creighton is being the living hell out of them, 81-59, with just about 2 minutes to go. I say stop the game right now because you're embarrassing yourself right now. Ugh. To my nephew,
Yeah, we
I'm
can toot away
sorry.
with that one.
I know, but I'm a Jersey guy. I've been a fan for decades. My nephew goes, so it's kind of like a family thing, but this is pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. I've seen I've seen better days. No boy, I've seen better days. But that's college basketball for you, though. Sometimes you're going to get really close games, and other times you're going to play like trash. And I do mean trash. All right, so on to the rest of the news of the day, or I should say the next couple of days, the last few days here. Okay. Celtics coach, I should say intern coach, John Mazzulla returned to the bench after missing the previous 2 games with an eye injury. Oof. Mazzulla says was part of the late regular afternoon game on Sunday at TD Gardens and was hit in the face last Tuesday before the Celtics faced the Rockets. Oof. He met with the media a short time later with his eyes red and irritated, well, naturally, but did not end up coaching the game. Well, I'm not surprised by that either. He was diagnosed with corneal abrasions in both eyes and was replaced by Damian Stoudemire, who was 2-0. The Celtics have declined to remove the interim tag from Mazzulla, who was named the Eastern Conference coach for the month of November. Yeah, I've had problems like that too. So the Dallas Stars signed center Joe Pavelski to a 1-year extension that runs through 2023-2024. The contract is a base salary of $3.5 million. That includes $2 million in performances. Pavelski has 12 goals and 25 assists in 38 games so far this season. Since joining the Stars in 2019, he has 78 goals and 122 assists in 243 games. Overall, he has 761 points in 963 games with the Sharks lasting 13 seasons. So he's been around for a while, as you can plainly see. And he's good. Well, the Big O does it again, as Ovechkin's fabulous year continues. He gave Montreal a good old-fashioned dumping on Sunday, as he scored his 30th hat trick of his career and is speeding at the pursuit of catching who else? Wayne Gretzky. This was his 24th goal of the season. Ovechkin now has 24 goals in each of his 18 seasons. Asked if he enjoyed facing the Habs, he replied, "No, I just enjoy playing the game." Ovechkin is now at 806 goals, 88 away from catching a great one, and if he stays on pace and avoids injury, he could surpass him by either next season or early of 2024 or 25. But I guess I'm jumping ahead a little bit. All right, and UConn, well, they slipped a bit in the rankings this week as Xavier upset the Huskies in Saturday's game. Zach Freemantic scored 16 points and 11 rebounds. Hobie Jones scored 11 points in the upset. Thanks a lot. Jack Nudge started the game despite facing ill that limited him to warm-ups. He did not rejoin the team to start the second half, but came back later, scoring 15 points. A half hour before tip-off, he looked awful as he was sleeping, but he did not have a fever and did the best he could do. Jack came through for us in a big way. He was there and getting fluids, and to see him being so impacted motivated Xavier even more. Xavier won 8 of his last 8 straight games and debuted in the top 25. Ugh. Another team I can't stand. Luka Doncic capped up a 5-game run with 51 points and he needed every one of them to beat the Spurs, despite the fact the Spurs are pathetic. Doncic had 2 rebounds and 2 free throws in the last 4.5 seconds, helping the Mavericks escape with a 1-point victory over the Spurs. This was his third 50-point game in 5 games, including Tuesday's 60-point, 21-rebound performance in overtime win against my Knicks at the last second. Yeah, that hurt. He is the first player in history with 250 points, 50 rebounds, and 50 assists in a 5-game span. Christian Wood scored 25 points in the Mavericks' fifth straight victory over the Spurs. After leading by 17 points, the Mavericks had to scramble in the final minute. Spurs guard Trae Young was fouled by Mavericks forward Davis Bertans after Jones missed the second free throw, with the Spurs trailing by 2. Jones made the first free throw, but missed the second. Doncic missed 2 free throws with 1.5 seconds to go to help keep the Spurs from making a game-tying shot. Mavericks coach Jason Kidd said it's not easy to win. Said it's not easy to win here, but Luka came through despite missing the free throws. And for those of you who are too young to remember, Jason Kidd also once played for the Nets. The Avalanche activated center Nate McKinnon a few days ago off the injured reserve list ahead of their game against the Maple Leafs. McKinnon has not played since December 5th from an upper body injury that he suffered in a loss to the Flyers. The following day, he was put on injured reserve. The Avalanche did say at the time of the injury he would be out at least 4 weeks. So far this season, he has 8 goals and 26 assists. For the defending champions, who have been hit by the injury bug, are now 4th in the Central Division. Well, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, it's tough to repeat anyway. So, but 4th in the division, yeah, I get it. All right, now moving on to the other news of the day. And thankfully, the whole game was over. Ugh. All right. So, Red Sox third baseman Rafael Devers agreed to a 1-year deal worth $17.5 million and avoids arbitration. Happened today, source told ESPN. A sign that sides continue to communicate in hopes of striking a long-term deal. Devers is set to hit free agency this winter, but after losing players such as Mookie Betts and Alexander Bogaerts to trades, the Red Sox are motivated to strike a deal that will keep Devers as a Red Sox, with them to wait into his 30s. Yes. As we mentioned, the Bills-Bengals game was suspended last night after safety Damar Hamlin went into cardiac arrest. Will not be made up this weekend. The NFL announced that today. And I can't really say I blame them. They need time to heal from this. The league, in a statement, Senate Commissioner Roger Goodell, that both teams, the game will not resume this weekend after consulting with both teams and the Players Union. The league has not made a decision on resuming the game at a later date. The NFL continues to be in contact with the medical team caring for Hamlin and the Bengals and Bills organizations and the players' organizations, the league said in a statement. Hamlin spent last night in the Cincinnati Medical Center in intensive care and is still in critical condition at this point. The Bills are scheduled to play the Patriots at 1 p.m., and the Bengals are expected to play against the Ravens, a time yet to be determined. So I'll have to wait and see about that. I've never seen an injury like that. Though I think there was one incident where a player was hurt in an All-Star game in the NFL back in 1976 and died on the field. At least I think that's what I remember. So anyway, fans gave, let's try Hamlin, as fans gave millions to Damar Hamlin's Toys Drives for Kids. Hamlin had a simple goal to raise $2,500 online to buy toys for needy kids. It took about 2 years. Then came last night when the Bills said he was critically injured and he and his heart restarted on the field. That resulted in a chilling scene shown on national TV as the Bills were taking on the Bengals. Within an instant, became one of the biggest sports stories, and fans went to his GoFundMe page. The result? Nearly $3.7 million was donated in the first 12 hours, and that number is still growing. A fundraiser as of last month raised $2,921, went up to more than $3.6 million at 10 a.m. this morning, with about 128,000 people going online to donate. Many came with messages of hope for the second-year player that's sedated in an area hospital listed in critical condition, with some of his teammates unwilling to return to Buffalo so they can continue to be close to him. And why not? If you like upsets in college football, boy, do we have one for you. Tulane pulls off upset over USC in yesterday's Cotton Bowl. Alex Benham knew right away that he probably scored the biggest touchdown in Tulane history, even after the Titans' contested 6-yard touchdown catch was ruled incomplete. The long replay reviewed Bantam made the catch with 9 seconds left, even when the linebacker Eric Gentry draped over him and rolled over in the end zone that capped a frantic finish for the Green Wave in a 46 overtime win over the Trojans and Heisman Trophy Caleb Williams. Quarterback Michael Pratt shared his thoughts on the wild finish. If you told us before the game we only had one drive to go down there and win the game, then we would take it 10 out of 10, said Pratt. The Green Wave scored the final 16 points with just over 4 minutes left, and the game-winning touchdown came after the Wave got the ball after scoring a safety. That was a wild game. I'll bet if we do an end of the year highlight show, that's going to be one of them right there for us. All right, so moving on. I know I got more than that. Oh, by the way, Happy New Year, everybody. I forgot to mention that. So anyway, after Ham was taken on the field, the ambulance, after receiving treatment for 10 minutes, which resulted in the game being suspended between the Bengals and the Bills. CPR was made to Hamlin multiple times after the collapse on the field following the play in the first quarter, which, of course, I still find very devastating. And I'm sure anybody that saw the game would agree. So right now he is still in the intensive care and critical condition, but he is improving somewhat. So it may turn out to be, recovery after all. He appeared to be receiving oxygen and was placed on in the ambulance and taken off the field. The injury took place after Hamlin tackled wide receiver T. Higgins and quickly got up, but then collapsed, with trainers coming to help him. A stretcher was brought out onto the field as trainers protected his head. Smart move right there. Ugh. And to continue on, the entire Bills team was on the sideline surrounding Hamlin as he received care. Many players have turned their backs on to watch him in distress. He went down for 9 p.m., was placed in an ambulance, and left the field at 9:25. His family came down from the stands to be with him in the ambulance. Just a shame. Not for the, but you never know what's going to happen, when you're going to get injury. You see like broken arms, broken legs, and whatnot. And sometimes you have like a concussion, but this goes way beyond that. And at that point, they're thinking about, well, you got 5 minutes to warm up and get back in the game. The player said, no, we're not going back. And I think it was a move, because how do you think of playing a game when your teammate is in an ambulance and could possibly be dying? I don't think that I don't think that could have happened. So they made the right call by not continuing that game. Because I remember, because 43 years ago there was another incident, although not on the field, but with the night when John Lennon was shot, and Howard Cosell broadcasted over the air as the game was being played, and everybody heard it, and they were just like in complete shock. And he said, "This is just a football game," and just like last night, that's what it was. Okay, Jets quarterback Mike White sat motionless as he was reaching down to pick up play sheets and tore them up into pieces, serving as a metaphor in what was a promising season at one point. The loss to the Seahawks was their fifth straight and limited them from playoff contention to culminate in epic collapse. It extended their postseason drought to 12 seasons, the longest active streak in the league, and their seventh straight losing season. Yuck. The Jets were 7-4 at one point on November 27th after beating the Bears, and seemingly were headed for a playoff appearance. Now are in the midst of their worst offseason collapse, the worst season collapse in team history, and have not lost five straight since their 1-15 season in 1996. After a 4-13 finish last season, the Jets were not expected to be playoff contenders, but became one of the biggest surprises with their fast start. Expectations then were raised and then fell apart. What a surprise. The Jets hope White's return will give them a spark needed to win their final two games along with the Patriots' loss, and would have secured a wild card berth. After missing the last two games with rib injury, White looked like rusty and uncomfortable under pressure in the loss to Seattle on Sunday. And once again, all hopes were dashed for the Jets to make the playoffs. Ugh, what a shame. Yeah, look, okay, despite the NFC South title already being in hand, the outcome of next week's game against the Falcons have no impact. The Bucs will use all their starters in next week's game, and that includes quarterback Tom Brady, set by head coach Todd Bowles. I don't know why you want to do that, but okay. We can get better at a lot of things. So right now we are playing on Brady to play. The team is right 8-8 right now and locked in the fourth seed. We will see. We will see how things go going forward. We can get better at a lot of things that we need to work on, and we don't need to run out of gas at this point. After struggling to protect Brady, push the ball downfield, and put points on the board all season, the Bucs put together one of their best performances all season by beating the Panthers on Sunday, as Brady accounted for 4 touchdowns, 3 passing, and 1 on a quarterback sneak. All 3 touchdowns through the air were caught by Mike Evans, the franchise record holder in just about every receiving category, who has not caught touchdown passes week 4, if you can find that to believe. All right. Georgia tight end Darnell Washington suffered a strained ankle and soft tissue bruise and is questionable for next Monday's game against TCU for the championship. Okay. Head coach Kirby Smart told ESPN that Washington's injury was not a high ankle sprain and surgery will not be required. I guess that's good news. Washington is a potential first-round draft pick in the April draft, was injured in the second quarter in their victory over Ohio State. He was injured when Ohio State linebacker Steel Chambers, that's his name, Steel Chambers, intercepted a pass from Stetson Bennett. Oh boy. Washington did not return to the game after the injury, but told ESPN X-rays were negative. Washington was seen wearing a walking boot and on crutches on the sideline. Yeah. Steel Chambers. Huh. Sounds more like a pro wrestling name than a football player. Well, it does. The Titans will start Joshua Dobbs for Saturday's contest against the Jaguars that will determine the AFC South. Said Coach Mike Vrabel. The game will play on Saturday night, where it takes on the AFC South. Of course, with the Bills-Bengals game not being pushed back, I know how it's going to go. In the biggest upset since the start of the college football playoff, third seed TCU stunned Michigan 51-45 in the Fiesta Bowl on Saturday. Wow. The win continues TCU's storybook season and became the first Big 12 team to reach the title game since the playoff era. Highlighted by a 44-point third quarter in the semifinal match was a back and forth battle that saw TCU nearly blow an 18-point lead by a pair of sixes, two fumbles, a 76-yard touchdown pass, and 8 score combined for the largest score in Fiesta Bowl history. Wow. What a game. So now they're going to be, and the final is Monday night, and of course, I'll be ready for that game. And like I said, I knew that it was going to be, a very close match. And indeed it was. I don't know about you, but I still think though I got Georgia to win this. I mean, Georgia looks too tough, and look like they're going to repeat it. Despite being outgained by 40 yards, TCU never trailed in the game by beating Michigan at their own game on the ground by 80 yards and converted 8 of 16 third down attempts, as Michigan only converted 3 of 13.
13.
Wow.
On third down.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, that sucked ass.
TCU will face Georgia. Yeah. TCU will face Georgia on Monday for the championship. And I'm already getting comments that saying Georgia will win its second national championship. Okay, fine.
It'll be a good one. I think Georgia will
Can
win
you take
too.
it close to football? Oh, yeah. Yeah, but they're predicting like a blowout. I don't know about that.
No, it's a close.
Can you take it close to football? Yeah. As he went through
It's a
the
college
tunnels
football
of
playoff. What the heck?
T-Bank Stadium. Right. On Sunday night, as the Steelers beat the Ravens, keeping their playoff hopes alive, just barely. Not only did he escape elimination at Mike Thomas' first losing season, but Pickett was given the game ball. His game demeanor and precision passing helped the Steelers at 8-8 drive down the field and scored the go-ahead touchdown with less than a minute to go. That proved to be the game winner. Pickett completed 5 of 6 passes for 64 yards, converted 2 short-yard third down passes, and sneaks to drive the Steelers 80 yards and finish off with a 10-yard touchdown from Najee Harris. The case may be. Great game. All right. Moving along. And the Bucs had to overcome 2 double-digit deficits to beat the Panthers to clinch the NFC South in the second straight year. The Bucs had not come back from a deficit of 14 points or more throughout the season, marred by slow starts and non-existent passing game. Meanwhile, Brady and Mike Evans' streak of games without a touchdown now stands at 11. That was before, of course, Sunday's game. Still. But if you ask my opinion, Brady, I think, is going to be done this season, regardless, win or lose.
Yeah, it's time.
The Giants
he can't play forever.
No. The Giants made the playoffs for the first time since 2016 as they beat up on the Colts on Sunday. No surprise. They did behind 4 touchdowns, 2 passing, and 2 rushing behind Daniel Jones, a.k.a. Danny Dimes, who finished 19 for 24 for 177 yards and rushed for 91 yards on 11 carries. The Giants need only 1 win to secure the 6th seed in the AFC playoffs, where they will face the winner, the 49ers or Vikings in the wild card round. They could have won last week, but Minnesota won on a 61-yard field goal. That's what I call the immaculate field goal. The last time the Giants made the playoffs, Bob McAdoo was the head coach. Jerry Reese was the general manager. And Eli Manning was the quarterback. Go figure that out. Yeah, and ever since then, it just fell apart. So first time in 6 years, but it's going to be awfully tough. And OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., was in his third season, which ended with a memorable boat trip and loss to the Packers. You never saw on that boat that day. You weren't. Your mind was not on the game. Okay, Eagles defensive end Josh Sweat was carted off the field with a neck injury in the first quarter in their game against the Saints after crashing into fullback Adam uh, Perjace head first while making a tackle. Ugh. He was transported to a nearby hospital for further evaluation. Stewart did have movement in all his extremities. He lay on the ground face down for several minutes as concerned teammates stood by him. Ugh. Yeah, almost another disaster. So we've got two big disasters in the same week. Yeah, of course they play on turf though. He was moved onto a stretcher and lifted onto a cart to be taken inside. Ugh. Just not, just not that good. And that's all he wrote there. Patriots quarterback Mac Jones fined twice for unnecessary roughness in last week's loss to the Bengals and was fined $23,976. The first fine was $13,367 as a result of Jones dropping to the ground in front of the Bengals quarterback Eli Apple during the return of a possible fumble on what Apple says was a dirty play, but Jones attempted to impede Apple's path to another Patriots player chasing down the play. The second fine of $10,606 was related to an attempt to recover run, yeah, to recover the run. Not a very smart way to think about it, though. I mean, that's pulling a stupid stunt like that. Chasing the play. The second fine was by running back Raheem Stevenson's lost fumble late in the fourth. Jones explained his actions after the game, saying it was a bit of a pile out and the ball squirted onto another pile. I went over there and tried to grab the ball to save the game. At the end of the day, you have to take your chances for the ball. You compete for the ball because it's a live ball until someone holds it up in the air. You have to go get it, and that's what I was trying to do. So you say. All right. So it should be a fairly interesting weekend in the NFL as we go to week 18. If the game between the Bengals and Bills does get made up, that'll push the postseason back a week, of course. So now we could be looking at the Super Bowl playing on February 19th. Huh. But of course, that's not an official word yet. But as soon as information becomes available, I'll bring it to you, of course. Okay, that's going to wrap it for me. So I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. So that's episode 31 of True Sports, the first one of 2023. We'll talk next week.
Yeah.
Probably Monday because there's no Monday Night Football.
All right.
After once
Right.
week 18 gets done and over with. Typically, so episode 32 next week, Monday at 10. Till then, I'm Taylor. He's Lewis. Ta-ta. Hit him with a high. Power the people.
Good night, folks.